This episode of the Productivityist podcast is brought to you by Blinkist. Now, I'm a big fan of Blinkist, and I'm happy to welcome them back as sponsors of the Productivityist podcast. Are you not sure what Blinkist is? Well, I'm going to let you know what Blinkist is and what it has in store for you and your productivity, along with your knowledge, during this episode of the podcast, so stick around for that. This episode of the Productivityist podcast is also brought to you by MetPro, a world-renowned concierge nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle coaching company. Using metabolic profiling, MetPro's team of experts analyze your metabolism, and they provide you an individualized approach to obtaining your goals. They've done it for me. I'm going to share my experience with you during this episode, as well as extend a special offer from MetPro to listeners of the Productivityist podcast. So stick around for that, and stick around for the show, which is starting now. Welcome to the Productivityist podcast. I'm your host, Mike Vardy, and this week on the show, I'm joined by Owen Video. Now, Owen is the founder of the videomarketingschool.com, where business owners and marketers learn the art and science of online video. Owen's widely known for his high-energy, insightful workshops and courses, and he's a sought-after event MC and live stream host with a reputation for creating TV-quality live stream shows for brands. Now, I've seen Owen MC. I've had a chance to sit and chat with Owen we did this at Grow with Video Live, Sean Cannell's event back in just outside of Las Vegas in late 2018. And Owen's a great dude. We had a lot in common. And as soon as we started chatting, I'm like, why haven't you been on the podcast yet? Like, why have we not met, let alone been on the podcast? So this episode's been in the can for a while, but when it comes to production, I know that Owen can understand that you have to kind of make sure that you line things up in a certain way. He's going to go over that. There's a whole bunch of things we get into and how productivity and time management falls in line with making video and creating video for you, for your brand and for your company and for you. So we're just going to get into it now, especially as somebody who's trying to explore video more. This was a fascinating topic for me to get into, and I wanted to share it with you today. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Owen Video here on the Productivityist podcast. I'd like to welcome you to the Productivityist podcast, Owen Video. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped to be here.
So the reason I wanted to chat with you, other than the fact that we had a chance to really talk at Sean Cannell's event in Las Vegas, we really got to know each other through Todd.live, who kind of said, you guys got to connect. And we just chatted about comedy and just, family stuff and video, like productivity and video stuff. But I've been really diving more into video over the past several months because I know that that's a place not only where I need to be, but it's a place where people like my audience wants me to be. They've heard me on the podcast for long enough. They've seen my writing. I'm doing the daily blogging, all that stuff. But they're like, hey, we want to see your mug, which I'm like, all right, if you want to see it, I'll let you see it. What propelled you into diving into the video space? Because you've been at this game for a while.
Yeah, I have been doing it for a while. I mean, I've been in video since I was a kid, 1989, I was 9 years old-ish, and for Christmas that year, we had two big presents, not a wealthy family at all, really just like middle class, like the lower end, working class, blue collar family. We had a Nintendo and we got a video camera, one of these big shoulder mount video cameras. You have to put the whole VHS cassette tape in there. And I played Nintendo for about 15 minutes, but I played with the camera for about 15 years, doing sketch comedy, believe it or not. I would do video spoofs, back in like 1994, like the video, I was 14 years old. And the movie of the year was called Hoop Dreams.
Yep.
And this movie about basketball inner city kids. And so my brother and my brother's best friend and I and my whole family, like my sisters and whatnot, we made a video that summer called Badminton Dreams. And it was about these two inner city kids who came from a martial arts family, that wanted to just play badminton and all the bad guys that would stop them. And so we made this film. I mean, this was like a big thing happening in my house for like a week. And we just made this, what ended up being a 5 to 7 minute, kind of family video. And that just kind of grew. And I started doing sketch comedy with my friends. I was in a group in high school that I formed called the Pentaveret. And the Pentaveret was 5 of us. And we just did sketch comedy. It was like Kids in the Hall or SNL. We did sketch comedy for our school. Our school loved it. I mean, we were stage performers, but what I did is I was the camera guy, right? I'd bring the camera and set the camera up and would capture all that stuff. And so there's a video camera somewhere at some school district somewhere that's got all these videos, these films of our sketch comedy. We didn't keep them, unfortunately. But I've always been involved. And so, if we can fast forward to 2006, 2007, the market's about to tank. I'm working in advertising, and a majority of my clients, so many of my clients were in mortgage, refinancing, and these different types of things. I was number one at the company. I was the number one salesman, and I thought I had job security there. So, when my boss kind of started, he chewed me out about something, and I'm not the kind of guy that likes to be chewed out in front of other people. Call me crazy. I guess I don't like being chewed out when I'm the number one salesman in front of everybody. And so I sort of stood up and held my ground in front of everybody. And they let me go shortly after for insubordination. And I thought to myself, this is where it all comes together, right? I thought to myself, even at this place where I was the number one revenue producer for this office, I still don't have job security, right? The guys who are selling the least but went to the same college as the boss have safer jobs than I do. And so I knew at that moment that I would never return to the corporate world again if I could do anything to help it. And I picked up my camera and I started knocking on doors, going door to door, offering web videos for local businesses. And YouTube was brand new. It was really starting to hit the Google. I think Google had just bought it, or it was just emerging. I can't remember the exactly, but I sold them these videos and I put them on YouTube, and I was like, now you got a video, and I crushed at that. So my skills have always been in practical video. It's never really been cinematic or like this amazing, like gonna go multi-viral, billions of views video kind of guy. I'm really more the guy that's like, hey, let's make these 5 videos for your company and let's count the cash that comes in from generating leads on YouTube. And we've been very successful with that for the last 10 years.
Well, and it's interesting as we talked about this, like kind of the trajectory that you had with your career kind of is when we had this conversation when we were in Vegas, they're very similar paths. I was doing comedy, I was doing all that stuff. I had the day job eventually that I had to go to, but during my whole youth, I was into doing sketches. And I did my little George Bush Senior impression and told you about Airband and all that stuff. And then eventually it gets to a point where you have to go and say, okay, well, how do I earn a living? How do I, especially because you're getting a family and all that stuff. Right. What was you again, I think what you've done is you've meshed that sales component that you were so good at with YouTube. How did that look then? And then what have you continued to do to kind of, because it seems like you're pushing more towards, and if you go to your YouTube channel, which we'll link to in the show notes, there's a lot more. It's not driven as much by sales, but it's just you're a personality on there now, right? Like there's that personality. So what's that journey been like? Because it is a shift, right?
It is a shift, and it's sort of like a reverse bell curve, whereas instead of it peaks at the top, it's kind of like it ebbs and flows. It goes ups and down. When I first started on the channel. Exactly. What I was doing was creating videos to help my customers do better video, right? Because I was going door to door and selling video. And so I started the channel as sort of like, I would publish these unlisted videos that would say, hey, thanks for doing a video with me last week. Now you're probably wondering, how do I promote my video? And so here's 3 things that I would do with your video right now. And I would actually go back in these days, YouTube didn't have a download MP4 version. So you'd have to go to these wonky sites. It's like, first, illegally download your video from YouTube. I taught them that. I was like, hey, first you got to go to this site, download it, because it's, Dropbox didn't exist, guys. Google Drive didn't exist. The cloud wasn't even a term yet. And so we'd upload the videos to YouTube. We said, now you got to download it. Now here's re-upload it. At this time, I think Facebook had video, but only in certain features. I can't even remember. I mean, this is before the timeline, the Facebook timeline even was introduced. So, it's a very different environment, and we could do whatever we wanted. And it was very easy to rank a video, right? If you were a chiropractor in Cincinnati, it was very easy to make 10 videos, that was best chiropractor, Cincinnati, Ohio, top chiropractor, 84102 or whatever the dang zip code is, and rank our clients for this. And so we'd put these very simple videos up And we would notice results in days. I mean, you're number one, and then from there you're getting sales because Google was full fledged. Everybody, the Google was already big, and so the results were coming up in YouTube. As I grew the channel that way, sort of being the expert, right, I became more of a personality. And I remember when that happened, I got a phone call from a gentleman at the National Speakers Association. So we want to bring you out to Charlotte, Virginia to speak to one of our groups and show them how you're using YouTube. And that kind of I went from sort of teaching sort of like how to make video to just sort of like how to grow on YouTube. And the content sort of changed. I met Daryl Eves, I met Jeremy Vest, I met Tim Schmoyer. And these guys were all in the very beginnings of their careers as well. For those of you that don't know, these are like the biggest names in YouTube for creators, right? YouTube for creators, people viral vids and like, let me kick you in the hoo-ha vids and these things that are funny and we enjoy cat videos, but we, it's not going to grow your business. And so, I saw a niche to be the grow your business with video guy. And I started building a personality around that, growing channel around that. Fast forward to last year, 2 years ago, the algorithm changes and boom, like my channel kind of like just hit a brick wall and it just stopped moving. And so to adjust, we went back. And it's so funny, Mike, how we so many times in our business, like we go back to what we started with.
Right.
And it works for us. We're in that phase right now. We're sort of going back to the original messaging of we provide, video strategy for service-based companies and just getting real specific. So we went back to that and, our company started growing again. And it's been a really neat journey sort of watching the differential, right? So back in the day, a majority of our leads came through YouTube. Now about a third of our leads come from YouTube. Another third come from Facebook. Another third come from Google searches. So we've diversified and we've gone multi-platform, and that's what's going to get us to 7 figures in 20 months.
Meal planning is important because it prevents us from being a disappointed wreck when dinner time comes around and we have no clue what to make, or even if we have the ingredients to make the meal. It's a time and a money saver, but most importantly, it frees up valuable brain space. Creating a meal plan prepares us for the week to come and gives us peace of mind that we're organized and can feed ourselves and our family. That's why I do it, and that's why Plan to Eat helps me do it. Your subscription includes access to the Plan to Eat website and fully featured mobile apps on iOS and Android. And Plan to Eat gives you the tools to clip and organize recipes from any website, the ones your family loves and that fit your dietary preferences and needs. And you can create a meal plan around your schedule. Then what happens is the Plan to Eat software automatically creates an organized shopping list based on your plan. So sign up for your free trial at plantoeat.com/timecrafting. That's plantoeat.com/timecrafting. The coupon will be automatically applied to your account and can be used when you're ready to subscribe. It's valid for new customers only. Give Plan to Eat a try today. Okay, we're going to take a break from the show right now to talk about one of our sponsors, and that sponsor is Blinkist, an app I've been using for years, and I'm going to share with you my experience with Blinkist, but I just want to share with you what Blinkist is all about, because once you know what Blinkist can do for you and once you hear the story, it's really a no-brainer. Now, in today's age, it can be really hard to find the time to sit down and learn more. I mean, I've gone so far as to dedicate an overarching focus of one of my days of the week to learning. Blinkist is part of that process. I'll get to that in a second. But it's not easy when, social media is bombarding you and it's got that addiction factor. I've talked about that before with Cal Newport on our digital minimalism episode. It takes up a lot of time too, and it can consume the time that you don't really necessarily have. So you might think that you don't have time to read a book or even to dig into personal development in any way, shape, or form. Well, there's an app that I recommend, and it's Blinkist, that will help you with that and more. What Blinkist does is it takes the best key takeaways, all that, critical information, and distills it down into just 15 minutes from thousands of nonfiction books so that you can listen to them, because there's a listening component, or you can read them. So really, Blinkist is made for busy people like you. 8 million people are using Blinkist right now. It's got a massive and growing library from self-help, business, health, history books, and you name it. There's tons of things that you can check out and learn from using Blinkist. Now, I like Blinkist in one way, actually in two ways, really. The one way I really like it is because it allows me to get those real key takeaways from some of the books that I'm trying to get into. The other thing is when I'm doing research, that speeds up the research process. So that's the second thing. And really, there is a third thing too. Do you ever remember, I'm dating myself here, but do you remember going into like record shops and there'd be like a CD machine like attached to the wall, and you went in there to buy like the single, the one hit off that album, but you couldn't buy it. So you wanted to see if it was worth buying the whole album. And you'd preview that album by what they had on the wall, or you'd go to the library to borrow the book or borrow the CD or whatever. With Blinkist, that's what I use it for to some degree as well. I will use Blinkist, and then if I find, you know what, I love what Blinkist has distilled out of this, I wonder what else this book has to offer. If I want to see more of the context around it, so I will actually buy the book. So Blinkist actually sometimes serves as the reason to get the book, the full book. So I use Blinkist when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm commuting, which is not very often, but when I'm going to pick up my son from school, I'll listen to it. Blinkist has replaced podcasts in some degree for my learning. When I'm trying to dig into very specific subject matter, I will switch off between podcasts and Blinkist. But Blinkist is really helping me out in that regard. And I've listened to a ton of books. There's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. There's the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. There are tons of books. Power of Habits. Charles Duhigg is another one. And Getting Things Done by David Allen. David Allen has appeared on this show. So again, that's kind of like the productivity Bible for a lot of people. Blinkist helps you learn more quickly. It's designed for people like us that want to learn more, read more, but don't necessarily have the time to do it. And what I want to do is give you a chance to test Blinkist out for yourself. So right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. So go to Blinkist.com/timecrafting and you can start a free 7-day trial today. So that's Blinkist, and here's how you spell it, Blinkist.com/timecrafting, and you can get started with that free trial today. So please give Blinkist a look. It's one of those things where you don't know that you needed it until you got it. And then once you got it, it's something you hold on to. I've been a dedicated subscriber to Blinkist for years now, and I'm so satisfied and so happy with what they offer me, and I want you to give it a try. So again, go to Blinkist.com/timecrafting and check out Blinkist today with that free 7-day trial. I'd like to thank Blinkist for sponsoring this episode of the Productivityist podcast. Now let's get back to the show. For somebody who's just getting into it now, like me. So for example, and you've got a team now. I've seen you in action. We were at Vid Summit. You have a team that works with you and all that stuff. Yeah. Back when you first started, you were the team. I would imagine like you were it.
Team, right?
So if someone, because it can be very daunting, especially because everybody, like YouTube is now the juggernaut that it is, the second largest search engine on the planet. If someone is feeling tentative, or either they figure that they can't gain traction, or that they just are like, this seems like a whole lot of work, and the reward is probably not going to be there, at least not as quickly as they might like, what would you say to somebody who wants to put some kind of process in place, or wants to get going with creating video, becoming a creator, building it for their business, or even just, they want to go down that road that you and I were going down, which is comedy? Like, hey, you know what? Because there are channels out there that are doing that stuff. What would you recommend to them in order to be not just, effective with it as effective, but also efficient? Because I think that people tend to throw in the towel when they see that, the grind is so much greater than the goods that are being delivered.
Yeah, and it can be. You asked such a great question. I think what you just asked is really the question, right? That's kind of like what confronts all of us. And so my first question is, what does daunting mean? No, I'm kidding. Let the audience off the hook a little bit, right? So just it's a big question. So here's the thing: is when YouTube first started, you could get away with crappy video. Then came the creator revolution, and that's your Sean Cannell's. In fact, I knew Sean Cannell back in the day. I remember meeting him at Vid Summit 1 4 or 5 years ago, and thinking, cool guy. I hope he makes it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And then,
boom, 1 million followers later, right? He's a fantastic creator. And he's sort of, he's one of those guys, Nick Nimmin, creating these phenomenal videos. And of course, the PewDiePies and sort of the Shay Carls, everyone became really good. What's the guy's name? Devin Supertramp, right? Was making these film qualities, right? People are leaving film to do YouTube. And then that got pretty big and a lot of people excelled there. But now we're in this awesome phase. And we're back to you can get away with crappy video now. Now, crappy video means something different because we have tools. But we're teaching our clients who generally run service-based companies. So, maybe you're a business in a shopping mall, you're a chiropractor, you're a karate studio, fitness instructor. Maybe you're a certified financial planner. You provide a service. You go to the chamber. You go to BNI. This is our typical client, right? And we love to serve this. We have some Fortune 100 stuff as well, but most of our clients are in this daily grind. And so what we're teaching them and where they're having tremendous success is with a smartphone on a tripod, delivering a message that speaks very clearly to one specific client group and the major need of that group. Right. So we talk about the Han Solo strategy, and this is where one good video can destroy the galaxy. Right. You can defeat the enemy of poverty, right, with one good video. And so what we teach is put your camera out, deliver a video that speaks a very specific message to a very specific audience, boost that video on Facebook to that audience, and link it to your contact form. Right. That's as simple as video marketing is. Now, of course, there are things that you should say in your video. And if you want to know what to say, go to perfectvideotemplate.com. Okay, perfectvideotemplate.com and get my template, get my script. I'll just tell you exactly what to say. So yes, there's stuff that you should say, but really it just comes down to making that video. And if we want to go and then boosting it, you want to go one step further, make one video like that once a week, right? Or once every other week, and just kind of maintain this presence. Today, I'm going to talk about, retirement planning for married couples making over $100,000 a year. Next week, I'm going to talk about, today I'm going to talk about, retirement planning for entrepreneurs and people that just started a business. The next week, today, I'm going to talk about retirement planning for single moms and what you can do right now today to start saving for retirement. And doing this over the course of 6 months, 12 months as in this example, a certified financial planner or something, you're building up an entire library of videos that each, presents a problem, solves the problem, and then links back to your contact form. In this way of video marketing, you're never going to go viral. Okay. You're never going to go viral, and that's okay. You're never probably going to get, what is it called? Ad Week to call you and be like, oh my gosh, you're making these amazing videos. But you know what you will get? You'll probably get requests from the news. I get this all the time. The news is always calling me to ask me questions, to quote me. And I've done a recurring spot on Sunday mornings on YouTube, because when it comes to YouTube for local business, they find me. So the news will probably call you. You're going to get questions from a ton of pre-customers. And this is the big shebang. This is the big hoo-ha, right? When you start getting like a new lead a week, think about how that would revolutionize the sales in your business. One lead a week that you paid nothing for, right? And invested no energy for, no chamber meeting, no BNI meeting, no $14 breakfast, right? No time networking with people that aren't interested in what you do at some, your first wine is free after work meeting. It just came to you and they wanted to buy. That's where you need to be with video now. You simply schedule a 1 hour block in your calendar once a week for 1 hour. You spend 20 minutes prepping the video. You spend 10 minutes actually shooting the video. And I believe you should do live video. Right. So you just kind of get your message out in 10 minutes, and then you spend another 20 minutes or so, putting the video on your website, promoting it, boosting it, and kind of doing some of that stuff with it. That is how video marketing works for the entrepreneur, for the small business. And it works every time.
See, and that seems completely manageable. And we're seeing articles about YouTube burnout and stuff like that, where people are doing, and I mean, and we've seen in the podcast game too, like daily podcasts, where, and I mean, yes, you can get if you can make that work, you can get huge traction. But you got to remember it, and I think this is important distinction too. The people who are daily blogging are generally only blogging. The people who are doing daily podcasts are generally only doing podcasting. The people who are doing video are generally only doing like daily video, or even and I would even say, multiple times a week, maybe not daily, but twice, 3 times a week, are generally only doing video. And I think the problem that a lot of people face is that they hear that they got to blog and they got to do a podcast and they got to do video. How do you keep not just clients, but yourself from going down that path of, I should have a podcast, or, maybe I should blog? Like, how do you keep yourself from doing it? Because the allure is great for a lot of people, right?
It is, and I think the results are great. We do a live show every Wednesday, and I really want the listeners to tune into this right now, because this is big, right? And I think that this is why my business is growing exponentially, is because we do this, and we do this for regular people who've never picked up a camera before, and done it for their business. We do a live show on Wednesdays that we dual cast onto Facebook and onto YouTube. I have a cute little software on my computer that allows me to kind of play some fun sound effects and keep the show active. Like I can do a thing like, playing a bell. And, sometimes we'll have like an infamous guest on the show, and I could play something like this.
Wow, the infamous?
Right? And I can really do some fun stuff. So what we do is we create these shows for our clients where you're doing like a 20-minute show and it's got sound effects. And what you can do is so you've got this video now that you can boost and bring customers back to your store, but you can also strip out the audio alone. Use it as the podcast. You can also strip out a segment of that audio and use it as an Alexa daily brief. So we believe in what we're calling the market leader approach, right? Video is just video unless you're trying to become a market leader. And that's what we want. Our clients, we create celebrities out of our clients, right? Like I'm not talking about viral video, amazing guy. I'm talking about the best well-known chiropractor in the city.
Right.
Because you're ranking on Yelp, you're ranking on Google, you're showing up in people's Facebook feeds. Everyone's thinking you're everywhere. People go, oh my gosh, Dr. Bill, you're everywhere. Right? That's what we're trying to create. So we move slowly, and how it works is we first start our clients making very short YouTube videos. These are 3 to 5 minutes. Again, specific need to a specific audience. And this helps the customer get comfortable with video and the process, right? Because video is a process. Like if you go to a perfect video template, you'll see there's 5 steps to a video. You say these 5 things in order and your video's over. Right? So we get them to make a few videos that we send to an editor. We get them edited and we put them on YouTube. Now you've got them. That takes about 2 weeks. The next step now is, can we do the same thing with live? Okay, because live video will save you so much time and energy. Unless you're, this business and you want to spend an extra $500 or invest $500 in editing, and getting an editor, or you're a crazy person that's like, hey, I'd like to edit my own videos on top of running my business and running my family, right? Yeah. I don't think it's realistic. So you're going to want to outsource the editing, or better yet, you're going to want to leverage live video so that you don't have to do the editing. And that's what we're going to teach. Once we've built that live, now you're going live once and you're doing the same 5 things, you see. So we're building that muscle. And once that muscle gets developed, we start showing them, okay, now here's how you put it inside of your blog. Here's how you embed it inside of your blog, right? And here's how you share that video in different groups and the right way to do this. So we build out a distribution system. Step 4 is repurposing. We'll get to this in month 4, month 6, depending on how fast the client's moving. Month 6 is, okay, now let's teach you. Now I'm going to show you how to repurpose this thing. So we're very systematic. We're very automated, right? We're like, I am an email forwarding Gmail rule creating, filter creating hacker, right? And I learned a lot of this going through cancer. Is like, I can't have all this stuff coming into my plate because I'm sick and I'm dealing with chemo. So an email would come to me and it'd have these words in it. I had it forwarded off to another person, my editor could just take care of it. And that's what we teach. It's like you do the video and you put it into this system, and then that system kind of does everything for you.
All right, we're going to take a break from the proceedings now to talk about the sponsor for this episode, MetPro. Now, I want to share with you this special offer that MetPro is giving Productivityist podcast listeners. So stick around and I'm going to share that with you. But I want to tell you a little bit about MetPro first and what I've been seeing with MetPro in terms of really helping me with my productivity. Sounds kind of interesting when you think about it, because really what they do is they help you out with fitness and nutrition and lifestyle stuff, but they're a concierge service. And what they do is they put you through an assessment, which we're going to get to in a little bit, that helps you understand what they call metabolic profiling. So they actually will go through that process with you and help you understand how you can achieve your associated goals with regards to optimally managing your weight and just getting healthier and fit. When you think about it, and I've talked about this correlation many times before, there are correlations between personal productivity and health and wellness. It's not just about the number of hours in the day. And when it comes to health and wellness, it's not just about, what to eat or how to train. I mean, those are critical, but they're not the be all and end all. What MetPro does and what they're focused on is time management. And it sounds weird, but bear with me. They're also focused on working smarter and establishing a game plan specific to your goals and lifestyle needs. So let me tell you how this works, how it's worked for me. For every single person, it's going to be different. For you, it's going to be different. But it involves meal planning. There's no question about that. But it's simple meal planning. There's some flexibility and durability around it, which I really like. And what I've been able to do with my MetPro expert, Megan, is to cater to my lifestyle. When I travel on the road, I can say, hey, here's where I'm going to be staying. Here are some restaurants I'm thinking about going to. Can you tell me what I can or can't eat? There's things like that. And things adjust too, because much like your life, your metabolism is constantly changing and it's adapting to the environment that you're in. So without identifying a starting point, it's really hard to determine the right strategy. And that's why that assessment is so important. Now, MetPro's coaches do a lot of things, but they're not only educated experts in their field, they have an empathy about it. There's no judgment, and they understand that people have demanding schedules and stressful lives. I mean, I've got a busy schedule. I've got kids, family. They will work one-on-one with you like they have with me to identify the best nutrition and fitness strategy that's going to work for your personal goals and lifestyle needs. I mean, I'm recording this literally on my birthday. I'm going to be going out tonight to have a beer or two. There's no question. I'm going to a ballpark, watch a ball game with my daughter. I was actually able to send Megan, my MetPro coach, I was able to send her the possible foods that I could eat there based on what they had at concessions. And she said, hey, here's what you should give a try. Here's what you should try. And now what's interesting is I have the ability to adjust my meals in a way that allows me to, say, make something portable that I could take with me on the way to the ballpark. So it makes you think about this, and it also removes that decision fatigue factor, this whole meal planning process where you can, plan meals. I like to do about 3 days worth, and it just basically saves me time and that energy surrounding what I'm going to eat, because I already know it's mapped out in advance. And there's just a lot to it that we're even only scratching the surface with me. Like, there's a whole fitness component, which I'm doing now. And there's a lot in there. There's a lot to pack in when it comes to MetPro, and there's such a great value. And I want you to take advantage of that. So without further ado, let's share that offer. So as a listener of the Productivityist podcast, you're going to receive a complimentary metabolic profiling assessment and a 30-minute consultation with a MetPro expert. Okay. Now, the real value of having that profiling assessment, that metabolic profiling assessment, is that you'll be able to gain insight into your personal metabolism. Once kind of getting an understanding of your metabolic profile is critical when kind of trying to figure out what you're going to do, selecting that right approach, and really unlocking what you can do, your full potential. The potential you have begins with identifying where your personal starting point is at. And I've noticed that, it's worked well for me, and I know MetPro will work wonders for you. So head to metpro.co/timecrafting to claim that offer today. I'm a big fan of MetPro, and I'm really happy that they're sponsoring the Productivityist podcast, and I encourage you to check them out and see what they can do for you. Now let's get back to the show. You brought up an interesting point there that I wanted to get to, and actually, it's a nice little segue. Is one of the things that I noticed when we were at Vid Summit. I remember I'm sitting with Todd.live and a few other people, and I'm like, "Where's Owen?" And I texted you, and you sent me a picture, and you weren't there anymore. The conference was over. You lived close enough. You were gone. You were home, and this brings back to, because I'm sure our listeners are like, wait a minute, hold on, cancer? Like what? Yeah. Talk about burying the lead. What do you? So what I want to talk about, like you've built these templates, you've got these business, you've got this in place. What has that done by what did you learn from the experience of not only building your business and templatizing, but what cancer taught you, what facing a disease taught you about being at like an event like that and going, you know what? Because I was impressed when I saw that. I'm like, because a lot of people are like, oh man, he took off. No, you went home, and that's where that home is, where the heart is, right? So can we dive into that a little bit? Because I think there's some work-life harmony things there that I think people want to hear about.
Yeah, so huge. At the end of Vid Summit, my wife and I had tickets to go see this comedian that we love, and we love live shows. And
which comedian?
A guy named John Christ.
Okay, don't know him, but I'm going to link to him.
Lots of like 1 minute, like viral kind of stuff, like Walmart parents, what parents say at Walmart. He'll go through an actual Walmart and do some funny stuff. We really enjoy him. And my marriage relationship is like the first thing in everything. So I'm at Vids. I already been here for 4 days. I love all you guys, and I got time with all you guys. But I got to get back. And here's the thing is it's not I got to get back is then I'm back, right? It's not a sacrifice for me. It's just what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. So here's a couple things that I learned from cancer. And to give you guys sort of the backstory is I'm perfectly healthy today. I do have less hair. Chemo took my hair and only gave half of it back. What happened was I was doing the hustle thing. Right. I was doing I'm a hustler. And I used to really love that lifestyle. I had a wife. At the time I had 3 kids and a 4th either on the way or brand new. What happened was I passed out for it was about 2 weeks. That is a lot of pain, losing weight exponentially. And it's just like, what the heck is going on? They diagnosed me with cancer. And I immediately go into this chemo routine. And essentially what had happened was diet and stress had toxins had built up in my body and caused my thymus to explode into a tumor. So, I learned that this hustle lifestyle is going to lead me straight into my grave. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be at a place where the only people that know me on social, and they have this impression of me that is unreal, right? It's not a real impression. I'm like, I want more from my life. I'm willing to be less wealthy and less famous, right? To have a good, rich, fulfilling life. Now, that doesn't mean that I wanted to give up on my business. I wanted to be that guy, like, I'm going to put in X amount of time for my business, and I'm going to put in X amount of time for my family. And then I've got other things, right? Personal development, some other things that are health and wellness. I'm really into that now. So I became really, really aggressive with my calendar. And here's the big thing about your calendar is I use Google Calendar. I use the G Suite, and it's amazing what it can do. It's amazing what it can't do. I love that it's like limited because it forces me to use better programs for certain things. Whereas I've tried like all these like souped up calendar things, and there's just too much, right? It's just too much. So here's the big thing is, do the things on your calendar, and the things that go on your calendar are things that you're going to do. Right. And there might be a better bumper sticker way of saying that, but it doesn't go on your calendar if your brain's like, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, or to make someone else happy. Your calendar is your life. Like that calendar is going to fill up whether or not you put things on it. Right. You don't have to put on your calendar, make room for random phone calls, or you don't have to put on your calendar, a kid will throw up at school, must bring things, right? And all these things that are going to happen. But what you can do is you can block off segments of your calendar that say, during this time, I'm taking sales calls. During this time, I'm available for family stuff. And during this time, I'm going to be doing these things. So when calendar appointments would come to me, hey, Owen, can I pick your brain? Hey, Owen, let's go grab coffee. The conversation sounded like it went from sure to that sounds fun. Let me see if we can make that happen.
Right.
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 And it became a real, hey, now's not good, but let's follow up in a few weeks. Saying no to things. The only things that went onto my calendar were the things that I absolutely had to do. And if they were on my calendar, I absolutely do them. How many of you guys have ever looked at your calendar and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that today? Well, then why did it go on your calendar in the first place, you putz?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, your calendar is your lifeblood. So protect it, right? Protect it and then fulfill it, execute on it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find, first of all, and Mike, this, you'll find that you have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, I had more free time than I thought. And then you'll develop this real sense of control over your time. So now you're thinking, hey, Wednesdays, I do my SEO. This would be a great time to do some prospecting calls. And now you're sort of like building your calendar based on the momentum you have in that particular time slot. For me, we record our podcast on Wednesday mornings. So when Mike, you're like, hey, you want to come on my podcast, and you sent me the link, I immediately look for Wednesday morning.
Which is
the mic.
Which is funny because Wednesday's my audio day. So you probably noticed the only days available were Wednesdays.
Yeah, and I loved it. Because, for you, I'm going to make exceptions, of course.
Right. If you would come back to me, and this is an interesting thing because I think boundaries are really important, and that's what we're talking about here, right? Or boundaries not just for others, but for you, right? Because if you don't respect your own boundaries, you can't expect anybody else to. So if you had said to me, hey, Mike, you know what? The earliest Wednesday I can find is like 4 months from now. Then at that point in time, we maybe create a conversation that it happens outside of the scope of those boundaries. But that's the exception, not the rule. And it's funny because, and we're talking, because a lot of people will say to me like, oh, do you believe in like, hyper scheduling yourself? Like every moment of your day is calendared. I'm like, no, I believe that every moment, let me put it this way. I don't believe every moment of your day needs to be specifically scheduled. And let me explain what I mean by that. And I've talked about this before. I'm a big believer in themes, right? Theming your time. So for example, today is, as we're recording this, it's my audio day. So when you and I are done, I don't go, well, now what do? I go, okay, today's audio day. And then I look at my to-do list, which has tags that are tagged audio. And I can go, oh, here are all the audio tasks that I should do on a Wednesday, either this Wednesday or the following Wednesday or the following Wednesday. Like that's when it should happen. And then when I have another appointment, and I have another one coming up in about a half hour after our call here, I go into that appointment, that meeting, whatever it is, which is, I call it an abstraction because it's outside of the norm. I come out of that meeting, audio time. And you can do this either by day or horizontally, as I call horizontal themes. So for example, between 2 and 4, because I'm a night owl. I think you're a night owl too, aren't you? Are you
far from it? No, I'm up at like 5 in the morning exercising, and I'm like in bed by 8 or 9.
So
go ahead.
So we're inverse there. But between 2 and 4, I've read the book The Power of When by Dr. Michael Bruce, and he says, as a wolf like I am, between 2 and 4 is your most creative time. I'm like, great, that's my making time. So again, I have a tag that's called making, and I go, okay, it's now between 2 and 4. That overrides audio day. Let me look at all the things that I could make. And sometimes it says making and audio, so it's tagged with both. So I'm like, oh, well, it makes more sense to do this today than any other day. So when someone says to me, oh, so do you calendar everything? I technically do. I just don't. I give myself some flexibility and fluidity because there are those moments, like you said, well, I'm not going to do that today. Well, then, okay, well, what other audio tasks could you do? It gives you, because the brain, like you and I both know, your brain will go, especially if you're wired to be with the idea of hustle and go fast now. You need something to slow you down and anchor you so you can say, okay, hold on a second. It's what day is it? It's Wednesday. Wednesday's audio day. Okay, great. What audio tasks can I do? Rather than you just looking sequentially on a to-do list or just going into your email and let somebody else direct your day.
Yeah, you know what? I think what you just said is like the big thing, right? It's the big thing. And you theme out your days. We theme out like segments of the day. So like Monday, for example, Monday's internal. We do a lot of our content delivery on that day. We do not meet with clients. If you were to schedule, and here's the thing is getting calendar links, by the way, guys, is huge. Using Calendly. I've been using Visita for years, VCITA.
I use Acuity. Yep.
Okay, so great stuff, right? Like having these links and having them coincide with your themes. On Tuesdays, for example, I'm looking at my calendar right now. I literally have I'll just have for today, between 1 and 5 today, I have my calendar blocked off for work on launch because we're launching a new course first of the year. So I'm going to be working on the launch today. Now I have links that I can send people that are launch links. So if I'm going to be doing work on A, B, C, I need to talk to this guy, talk to that guy. Those links are only going to allow that person to schedule on Wednesdays between 1 and 5, or on, Thursdays between, like 11 and 2, and so on and so forth, right? So I have those times blocked out, and I have calendar links for those times so that my appointments can book with me in a way that that makes sense for me, and of course, is accomplishing the objective that we want to fulfill. So I call that like blocking, like time blocking.
Yep.
Right.
And the other great thing about using links, by the way, just to cut in, is when you give someone a link and they see all of the times available, they feel they have control, as opposed to, so you're empowering them, which is, again, we talked about optics earlier, which is, it's really just a perspective from their perspectives. Meanwhile, they don't know that you've blocked off every other time. So they're thinking, wow, Owen's giving me a bunch of times on Wednesdays and a bunch of times on Thursdays. This is amazing. I'll pick this one because it works best for me. But realistically, it also works best for you. They just don't see that.
It does. And that's really, really important, I think, is to make sure that your time is being protected, because time is the one thing you cannot get back. Listen, Ray Kurzweil. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ray Kurzweil and the transhumanist movement, right? Which is cool. It's like some sci-fi nerdy stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like I love the idea, but Ray Kurzweil's whole thing is by supplementation and blending my body with technology, I'll be able to live forever. I don't think we're there yet. So as of right now, your time you cannot get back. So where you're spending your time matters, and you can't let other people waste your time. So for example, I have a lot of people asking me for advice, or can I pick your brain, or can I buy you coffee, and these different things. And for the most part, that's like it's a paid service. It's like, if you want to do that, you need to hire us for consulting. But the other part of that is there are certain people that I do want to have those conversations with, right? So like when the marketing director for a Fortune 200 company, contacts me after a conference and is like, hey, we'd love to see about integrating your system into our company. I give him that call link. And here's the big thing. I schedule my inbound calls, my pick your brain calls, my discovery calls with potential clients. I schedule those during times where I know I'm going to be working internally on my business. So think about what that means. I know that during these times, I'm going to be in front of my computer where my microphone and my camera already are, where my links already are, and so I can easily take a call. Now, that's step one. Step two is this. My calendar link program is very clear that it is their job to call me. I, as the expert, do not chase down pick my brain calls, or I want to talk to you about business calls. And here's why. Because I've made those calls. I used to think, well, if I make the call, I'm in control. But I'm not, because if they're like, oops, I forgot, they don't answer their phone. Or if they're like, I'm still in the middle of I'm still driving home, and they miss the call, right? I'm over here at my desk, and now I'm like wasting my time picking up the phone. I've now exposed my lack of busyness to the customer. Hey, Owen's not busy. He can just call me any time of day, right?
Yeah.
Tells all of his customers, wow, he's really available. I guess I can just reschedule this. No big deal. Owen's totally available, right? So when they call you, you're doing your work. And if they flake on you, you don't even get disrupted. You just keep on working. But if they do, and when they do, because most of the time you think they're going to call, you get the phone ring, you pause the work you're doing, and you take the call. But when they flake, if they flake, it is no disruption to you. I've seen too many times where business owners, and that's typically who we're working with, the business owner will like schedule this half an hour call, and they make sure they're sitting in their desk, and all of their desk is all piled away, and they've got their PowerPoint in front of them, and they just can't wait for this call. And then it never happens. And guess what? You wasted that entire prep time for a call that never happened. You could have been working on your ebook. You could have been working on your SEO. You wasted the entire time like during the call. And now you're in a mental state where you've been rejected.
Yeah.
Now you're alone at your desk feeling rejected, and you just wasted a half an hour versus I'm working on my SEO, and if they call, they call.
Yep. It's about crafting those moments and crafting that space so that when and this is deliberate, and we're, as we get close to wrapping up, this is being very intentional, and this is a lot of what I talk about, time crafting. It's like, what's my intention? How am I going to pay attention to that, and ultimately be productive in the process? So, hey, I'm going to schedule these. The only time people can call me during this, like, again, podcast stuff. No one can call me for podcast stuff outside of Wednesdays, unless, and again, this is the abstraction. Like, if I want to pursue someone to be on my show, that's different. That's a different scenario, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's all about being very deliberate. And as we wrap up, I want to, and removing friction from the process too, right? Because that's the other thing. So as we wrap up, I want you to kind of give the listeners, if they want to get started with video and adding video to their repertoire for their business, or whatever they're doing, what's one thing that they can do right now that's going to either eliminate the friction from the whole process right out of the gate, or it's just the one step that's going to build momentum so that they can start to create more video for their business, for their lives, and yet not disrupt or upset the apple cart in the process?
Yeah. Okay. I love you just said without disrupting the apple cart. I love that. You've got to integrate video into your business that either fills up your dead hours or replaces a less productive activity, right? It can't be, let me stop everything and redirect my energy to this video. It has to be a very natural, fluid part of your business, right? It's like, I'm a chiropractor, and from 8 to 11, I'm seeing patients. 11 to 11:30, I take a break. At 11:30, I do a 10-minute live stream on Facebook to talk to my audience. And it's very natural. You see that's the type of thing. So the first step to eliminating friction and knowing your next step is go to perfectvideotemplate.com. I know it's like, oh, he's trying to get me to opt in. Yeah, I'm getting you opt in. What do you think I'm here for, folks? For my business, But here's what I've done in the Perfect Video Template is we've created this 5-step method for doing video, whether it's a video that you're going to create on a regular, ongoing basis, or whether you want to do one video and boost it as an ad. This 5-step method will eliminate the friction. It will tell you exactly what to say, where to fill in the blanks with your business specifics. And my challenge to you is to make one video and boost it on Facebook, and then just let it happen. Let it work. I'm not promising you leads and sales. I'm promising you data. That's it. I'm promising you data. You're going to see that people loved it. They hated it. Who watched it? Oh, a lot of women watched it. Oh, a lot of men watched it. And this is going to give you insight to your next video, right? And to how you should continue making video. So go get the template and make your first video and get it out there. That's what you need to do. Take a look at who's watching, what you liked, what you disliked, and do the same thing again next week. If you have an open time in your calendar where you're thinking, Wednesdays when I get back from lunch, it'd be a great time. Put that in your calendar, book 1 hour, 20 minutes prep, right? 20 minutes getting your cojones stiffened up, right? And like to actually do it, just press that button, as Brian Fanzo says. 10 minutes to do it, then 20 minutes to answer questions and kind of share it afterwards. Book the hour and do it again the next week. It's pretty simple.
Owen, this has been great. Where else can people, other than going to perfectvideotemplate.com, where else can people go to keep up with your work? There's links there, but let's end on that note.
love for you guys to follow me on Instagram. On Instagram, you can DM me. You can ask me questions. I post to my story every day. I post to my newsfeed every day, and I'm at Owen Video on Instagram. And of course, would love for you to join me on YouTube at Owen Video. Subscribe to the channel. We're live once a week, and we do a training video once a week on stuff ranging from how to make more sales, how to be an industry thought leader, how to write a sales letter, how to make a great video. All that stuff is on my YouTube channel, and I hope that you'll join us there.
Owen, thanks. It's been a great conversation. Thanks for joining me today on the podcast.
Stoked to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Big thanks to Owen Video for joining me today on the Productivityist podcast. Of course, you can always learn and find and discover and dig in deeper to some of the stuff we talked about. They're in the show notes, which you can find in the podcast app that you are using right now to listen to the show. Or if you're looking at it on the web, of course, it's at productivityist.com/podcast252. All of our podcast episodes are slowly, actually, I think they all are migrated to the Productivityist website now. And all you have to do is put the /podcast and then the episode number at the end of productivityist.com and you'll get there. So again, if you want to check out everything that Owen talked about with me, go to productivityist.com/podcast252. It'll be there for you, ready to go. Thanks to John Polster for producing this episode. Thanks to Connie for putting the show notes together. And I want to thank our sponsors for this episode. One of our sponsors, of course, is Blinkist. Blinkist is a fantastic app. It takes the best key takeaways from thousands of nonfiction books. I've been using it for years. I'm a huge fan of what Blinkist has to offer. And now you can take advantage of what Blinkist has to offer as well. Again, go to Blinkist.com/timecrafting to get a free 7-day trial. That's BLINKIST.com/timecrafting. And you can start your free 7-day trial today. I also want to thank MetPro for sponsoring this episode. Again, as a listener of the Productivityist podcast, you can take advantage of their special offer, which includes a complimentary metabolic profiling assessment and a 30-minute consultation with a MetPro expert. To claim this offer, just go to metpro.co/timecrafting, and you can get started on that today as well. So thanks to our sponsors of this episode. And thanks to you for listening. If you don't want to miss a single episode, what I encourage you to do is subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, any of those places, wherever you're listening to podcasts, that's where I want you to go to subscribe to the show. You can hear all the great stuff that's coming down the pipeline, as well as look at the archives of the 250 plus episodes that we have in the archives. You can check out and find a topic, a subject related to time management and productivity that's going to work for you. So thanks for listening. Until next time, I'm your host, Mike Vardy, reminding you to stop guessing and start going.